people of all genders, we welcome you here to our wonderful bro review of Ring of Honor for this week. Gentlemen, hands in. We're going to observe the code of honor before we start this, unless you're Kyle Fletcher and you want to kick it away. Perfect. Good job. Yes, that is right. We have Jesse, we've got Mikey, we've got Andrew, we've got myself, JVL. The entire crew is back to review ROH for you this week. And before we get into that, obviously a little bit of housekeeping here. We love being able to bring you ROH. Not many people do. It's one of the best shows out there right now for wrestling. But in order to keep doing that, we need you to engage with us here. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. Drop us a comment down there below. Let us know what you like, don't like, anything at all. We need the algorithm to eat that up. Get the alert bell going so you know when we're putting out new things. We always announce the premieres the night before. And of course, if you're really into what we do and you really enjoy seeing our faces a lot, join our Patreon. It's new, it's out there. We're offering live watch-alongs. We're going to have other great perks coming up, like maybe some merch, some other, we talked about videos with ChatGPT generated wrestling promos we're going to give to uncertain people. So it's going to be a lot of fun, but we want to have your ideas anyways. Drop a comment down below so we can get to that. Mikey, did I cover everything for all of our housekeeping there?
Loud and clear.
Awesome. Which means we can move into Ring of Honor for the 18th of January. This was from two different locations, one still in North Carolina and then to Daly's Place. They had to call it out tonight because with Daly's Place, it's such a different set, you would kind of notice that it wasn't the same night.
It was very jarring.
Yeah,
like,
I thought I missed something.
But the background's wrong. What happened?
Yeah, I thought I just had, I really spaced through the first, half of the card. And I was like, wait, did the entranceway always look like that?
For those of us, yeah. For those of us that were part of the Dynamite pandemic era, I was like, oh, look at this.
I love Daly's Place.
I love Daly's Place as well.
Yeah.
And they did have to announce it. Caprice and Ian did bring it up a couple times, but it was really just jarringly in match 4, all of a sudden we jumped to Jacksonville. So you know that they mash a couple nights together. It's kind of how ROH is built because it's pre-taped. That also comes up later. I'll bring that up when that happens. But we start the night off with a promo from Billy Starks reacting with Lexi to what happened at the end of ROH last night. And Billy is pissed. She wants to kick some heads.
I want to break her kneecaps.
I want to bite her face.
I love that Lexi had to be the one to calm her down. It's like, no, come here.
Doing the deep breathing and Billy's just grunting through the deep breath.
I loved it so much.
It was a beautiful promo. It was a great way to start the night.
Yeah, anything with MIT Minion in trainings, I'm here for.
Which apparently it's being bought out and sold to a rival company now soon. We'll talk about that later. But Andrew, did you enjoy Billy and her acting in this and her actual fervor?
I always get a kick out of Lexi and Billy, and I love whenever they get into this minion and training stuff. I love how this tied in later. I do have to say, for the first half of the promo, I thought we caught Billy in the middle of cutting weight because it looked like she was wearing the sweat suits, the plastic suits for trying to lose some water weight. But yeah, it was fun. I liked it a lot. I think Lexi and Billy are doing a good job of carrying it while Athena is out.
It shows that Lexi also can change from her reporter side to being an actual character. They're all doing amazing work with this. And this was go, go, go. We then had one of my favorite, it was not my match of the night, but one of my favorite things that came out here. Nyla Rose coming in for a squash match against Erica Lee. And I think that this came up in the text string. Adolfo specifically didn't realize that Nyla Rose had a personality and was having fun in the ring and was actually doing stuff. She looked like she was finally free and off the leash to do what she's been born to do. This was fun.
She was having fun. I love the spot where after the first big jump, Erica Lee's like, I'm good. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And tries to just leave. That was one of my favorite parts. The whole match was a very entertaining squash match. But when Nyla goozled her and started going, have you lost your mind? Just screaming in her face. I was like, yeah, she's having fun with this.
It was a
full internet troll.
It was super fun to watch Nyla Rose legit have fun because I think we all had fun with her. And I think Lee was a really good choice for an opponent. One of the first things I noticed was she was pretty close in size to Nyla, at least height-wise. And they talked about her used to being the stronger opponent and now going up against Nyla. But I loved the way that Nyla was basically playing with her food. You know, she was just toying around. She was having so much fun. And then when she'd get caught being a little too comfortable, she just snap and go right after it. And I think that makes Nyla seem more dangerous than when she's just the like silent monster kind of thing. I will say from Lee, I really enjoyed her. I'd like to see more because she kind of gave me John Cruz energy. Like she was the perfect person to see this personality for Nyla because she played into it so much, like you said, Jesse, with the chop at the beginning, but just the whole way through. It was super entertaining. I really enjoyed it.
You're very right. That's kind of like Samoa Joe when he went up against John Cruz with the rope spot. Definitely, I could see that same vibe for this match.
So iconic.
But does this now mean Erica Lee is going to be Serpentica? Because as we found out last week,
I mean, I'm here for it.
Add her to a Spanish announce project.
I mean, might as well because they're down a member since Luther is now Timeless Tony Storm's butler over on Dynamite, which is great role for him. I really enjoyed this match, and I've been saying for the longest time, I want them to let Nyla Rose be as funny as she is on her social medias and when she does commentary for Evil Uno's Federation.
Yeah, Mystery Wrestling. If you haven't gotten a chance, find the clips on YouTube and then sign up for it. It's
just for the commentary alone.
Either way. This was a nice highlight to kind of just continue Nyla's role as this unstoppable crazy monster who is just really trolling everybody, which comes back later in the night to feed into more stuff. I enjoyed it. It made me happy to watch the rest of the show. We then transitioned to our first tag team bout of the night, and the ROH tag team titles were defended on ROH against a tag team that deserves to be going for the titles.
It felt like seeing a unicorn in the forest, having the ROH tag titles on ROH. And even Caprice said they are defending titles on TV. That's all I want to see when talking about the Undisputed Kingdom. I was like, hey, me too!
Caprice is like us. We're all like that. Oh my gosh, it's so nice to see the Undisputed Kingdom take on some of our favorites in the Iron Savages. Seeing Beefcake pull off his powerbomb, like shoulder
powerbomb slam?
Yeah, slam with the two of them. And Taven is not a small wrestler. Bennett is not a small wrestler, and he pulls it off flawlessly.
But to kind of go along with that, though, you'd never see the Iron Savages kind of taken to task like they were tonight.
No.
This was a really good match. I really enjoyed it.
I will say in the beginning too, like, and throughout parts of it, like they obviously played into, a bit of the Iron Savage comedy stuff, but in the beginning, especially, the Iron Savages seemed a little more serious. And that was kind of nice to see because I liked seeing them like, oh, hey, this really means something. We're fighting for the tag team title that we've been going for. And
I mean, Jack Dreams had been shut up the whole time, which was awesome.
Yeah. And I would think it was awesome to see and be reminded of how good of wrestlers the Iron Savages are, not just for comedy, but in general. It's kind of like the Outrunners. They're teams that have learned how to be really funny and entertaining, but then also be really entertaining when it comes down to the like actual wrestling. I knew they weren't going to win the titles going into this, but it was a super entertaining match, and I love seeing actual tag teams wrestle in just one-on-one tag team matches, and crazy idea for a tag team title in the company that the title is supposed to be represented in.
Who knew?
This is something new and refreshing.
It is.
Right.
Mikey, I have a question for you, Mikey, though. I have a question.
Yes.
He has a question.
Do you, like Caprice, have a taste for gasoline chocolate? Because obviously Caprice really wanted that sacred sauce, that's big, Savage sauce.
Again, I always say this, and I keep saying this. Ian and Caprice are the best commentators out there, and I should know. I will pretty much watch every single weekly show, and there's no comparison. I really enjoyed this match as much as I did. What surprised me once, I got from beginning to end is this actually was given some pretty decent time.
Yeah.
Immediately when I saw this on the card, I was like, oh, Iron Savages are going to get squashed again, aren't they? Because that's been the trend the last couple times we've seen them. Very short matches, and they're always usually on the losing end of everything. So my only nitpick was like, I mean, listen, I'm not trying to do ratings here. I don't think we do rankings, but I'm thinking to myself, they've kind of been losing a lot lately.
Yeah.
But I kind of threw that out the window when I saw Undisputed Kingdom on the card. I'm like, never mind, I take everything back I said. At least we're getting these titles defended on ROH where they belong. And I was happy. This
loss
match
they
was
can
really
take.
fun.
this is a loss they can take. This is one that they came out looking pretty strong from it. So the hope is they'll come back around or something will happen with it. It'll be a lot of fun. Also, every big man in this match flew at some point. It was ridiculous.
It was beautiful.
So if you get a chance, go back and watch that match. I mean, the whole first part of this card was just so good. I actually did also enjoy the next promo we got after that too, which had 4 of our competitors in the 8-woman tag, in Rachel Ellering, Layla Hirsch, Taya Valkyrie, and Robin Renegade talking to Lexi about the upcoming thing and not being cohesive, which is good because none of them like each other.
And it makes sense for a put together 8-woman tag match later in the night. Couple of notes that I had to write for this. First off, Layla Hirsch wearing a Philadelphia Eagles sweatshirt. I know there was the worst 11-6 team I've seen this year, but that made me happy as somebody from that area. Then we've got Robin, who pretty much just talks over everybody that she's going to showcase her talent, which I was really excited about. And then, spoiler, she took the pin. So that's frustrating. But Taya's line after Robin walks off going, "She's quite rude," was really funny. And then Lexi after that, after Taya walks off, because, she's better than everyone else, like, "God, she's so stylish." Like, both those just sent me that. I was laughing so hard at both those lines.
I want to add another one. After she walked off was Rachel Ellering pointing out that she did try to match her shirt to Taya's hair.
Yeah.
Which, yeah.
So ridiculous. This whole promo made me smile. And I love that the 2 teams we ended up getting in the 8-woman tag later, I appreciated that. It pretty much was like, all right, we're going to draw straws and see who's going to be on the teams. And also, they didn't say this directly, but I'm picking up on some cues here that we'll see later that Ring of Honor is throwing out. I think we have our 8 women for this TV television title tournament. I think those are the 8 women. Plus 1, maybe. But honestly, if that's the 8 we're going to get, I'm not going to complain.
It just was a great setup, and they all kept their characters well. I think, again, Ring of Honor is proving that even with writing that they can't trust sometimes, these wrestlers are knocking out of the park to keep us invested. Which was interesting because I wasn't as invested in the next match we had coming up, just because of the people involved. I didn't know how it was going to go, and it kind of dragged me back into it. Watching Brian Keith take on Claudio Castagnoli, I knew we kind of had an idea who was going to win this match, but the 2 of them decided we're not going to just let it be a thing. We're going to actually work our butts off the entire time. And the cowboy respect at the end was very interesting as Claudio won.
I saw this on the card and I was like, okay. And when it first started, first 3 minutes, I'll be honest, I was very bored with this match. But as I continued to watch it and they continued to work and cook, as they say, Mikey, that's what kids say now, right?
Yes.
You're the teacher, you would know.
Let them cook.
Yeah, exactly. The match really grew on me. I really enjoyed it. I really like when Claudio did the swing sleeper. Oh. I thought that looked really cool. I was like, yeah, that's a good way to end the match for me.
So dangerous. So dangerous.
Good, Mikey. I got a hot take on this one, so I'll let you go first.
We're going to fight later. I'm just kidding. I agree with Jesse. I will admit the first 3 minutes I was not invested in this match because, once again, Claudio was decimating his opponent and it was very one-sided for a good portion of the first 3 minutes. But then after that point, I actually really enjoyed it. And if I'm going to be completely honest, it was in contention to be my match of the night because I am biased. I love Brian Keith, which now that I hear his theme music, I was like, he is either signed part-time or full-time to one of these 2 companies because we don't get the Mike Jones entrance, which makes me sad. That went hard. And I love that entrance so much.
Who?
Don't worry about it. Anywho. Yeah, the sleeper chokehold, man. That image will live rent-free in my head.
So, yeah, I agree. Again, this match started off slow. There was an entertaining thing in the beginning when Claudio threw Brian Keith into the barricade, and then before getting back in the ring, he fixed the barricade for the audience. It was cool. It's cool to see Brian Keith sticking around and doing stuff. At the end of the match, I kind of felt the same way of I'd like to see him get booked in matches, not only that he can win, but if they're matches he's going to lose. Because this match did end really well, but I wish I didn't know that the ending was inevitable, what it was going to be. My hot take is I really respect Claudio for what he has and what he can do, but I've just never find myself excited about him wrestling, especially individually, and I'm never like pumped up by his wins. So I find myself just kind of not being invested, not kind of being interested in it. And it's not to say anything against his skill, because he does show that he can work with a lot of people, but watching this, I'm much more interested to see what Brian Keith's going to do than what Claudio's going to do.
Right. But is it a hot take though if it's the truth? Like,
Still a hot take. I mean, people are biased toward him in a lot of ways, and they know him from, you know, all the stuff he did with Xavier Woods and all that stuff. They want to support him, so I can see that could be a hot take of like, I'm so glad you're wrestling more, but now I'm just not entertained, or I'm not looking forward to it, and you have to show me more and more.
I still have the sour taste in my mouth. I enjoyed this match for what it was, but I thought to myself, where was this when you were champion? Like,
That was on AEW. He wasn't there. I also loved in this, there was a great spot. If Claudio can do this more often or set it up that way when he's in peril, he tried to uppercut Keith and he ran into the turnbuckle, but still followed through the European uppercut. That's a great injury spot. You go there, your arm is dead, you can't do anything about it because you hit the turnbuckle, then you put yourself up for any type of submission. So I want to see that more from him, where he miscalculates and hurts himself to give the other guy a little bit more of a hope spot as he goes into it. The only other thing I noticed in this, though, was the fourth wall was broken because I could hear Ian and Caprice, but then Brian Keith almost goes through the damn table and they're not at ringside. Where are you?
They're in the AEW. I'm telling you, they're in the AEW position up on the ramp. That's where they were.
That's the WCW position.
That's the.
I mean, they do it in
position.
AEW too.
It's the 8-woman tag we had coming up. Again, our original team we've met in the promo: Rachel Ellering, Layla Hirsch, teaming up with Robin Renegade and Taya Valkyrie to take on the other thrown together team of Billy Starks, Queen Aminata, who was blocked by Billy on most of this entrance, Kiera Hogan, and Lady Frost. And I don't know if you all noticed this on the entrance. When they're coming out to Taya's music, Rachel Ellering's dancing in the back. She's loving it. She's like,
how can you not love La Huera Loca? Like, that theme slaps.
Yeah,
it was just so cute. I'm like, Rachel, I want you to just be everywhere. I want you to take on Nyla Rose and have a nice big Hoss woman fight and just have a good thing. It'd be amazing.
Oh, please. Yes, give me now.
But I did say, before we get into anything else, watching how this match was structured, who was doing what where, I'm like, I think Taya Valkyrie is getting that TV title. So then we have both of the TV family with the TV title.
Mm-hmm.
Literally the TV family.
The Taya Valkyrie Championship, right?
Exactly, the Taya Valkyrie Championship. I don't know if that works well, but it seems like that may be what's I'm catching that from this. What do you all think?
I mean, I think for the finals for the television championship, whether it's a tournament or however they build it, I feel like they're building towards Taya versus Billy. They're the two big names. They're the two kind of stars outside of the world title picture. So, I mean, it makes sense to have them be the kind of focus for crowning it. I'm not sure. I mean, I feel like Billy's going to win it, but either one could. I could see them going either way.
Go ahead, Mikey.
Oh, no.
We're going to let Jesse stew for a little bit. So, I really like this 8-woman tag. I love all 8 participants, especially I've become a huge fan of Queen over the last couple of weeks, just seeing all over the place, which was amazing. I also kind of agree. Of these 8 participants who I think are going to be in the television tournament, well, we have a +1 coming later, which we'll talk about them later. I honestly think for me personally, it's got to either be Billy or Taya who gets that title, because all the other women are great, but if we're going to carry something, I think having that title is important. And if I'm going to be completely honest, I would rather have Taya be the inaugural women's television champion. I love Billy to death, but I feel that, I don't know, it's a toss-up between that. But as far as the match itself, I liked it. I didn't mind Robin taking the pin here, only because of the fact if I'm looking at all 8 women, I'm like, yeah, you're cannon fodder, unfortunately, for this one. I don't agree with it. I didn't say that, Jesse, but looking at this, I'm like, yeah, logically, from a booking perspective, it makes sense.
I really wanted to like this match. I'll keep this short. The the punch from Queen on who was it? Who'd she smash right in the face? Layla. It was very, very stiff. I don't know if anyone else picked up on that.
Yeah.
But aside from that, the match was okay. It wasn't great. I wanted it to be. I love every one of the competitors in there, and I know they can all do really well. But it seemed like everyone was kind of getting to move in, tag out, getting to move in, tag out, fine for these kind of big tag matches. But then I swear it was ref came over, nudged one of them, and pretty much was like, oh, hey, you women have been on camera too long. Spam finishers and end the match now. And that's what happened.
I mean, the tag klaxon did go off pretty early.
Yeah, and then everyone spammed their finisher, and the match was over, and that was it. So I got really frustrated in that. I got really frustrated with the women's division tonight, but I'll talk more on that later tonight. But I did have a lovely thought. I'm hoping that Queen Aminata does not get stuck or lost in the shuffle here. However, wouldn't it be really great to have her join Mogul Embassy so we have Queen Aminata and Prince Nana? Royal family I can support.
And then they've got to grab Bishop Khan at some point because he's also actual royalty as well. And then you've got like the whole thing there.
Andrew, add to this.
I do have to say my favorite spot of this match was when Kiera Hogan was in, and she was like, she went off against Rachel Ellering, and I think she had like Ellering in like a headlock or something, and Rachel just like picked her up and carried her over to her corner and just like dumped her. Because it was like she finally got in there against a smaller opponent, so she was like, all right, cool, I'm just going to carry you across the ring now because, you're tiny.
Send me a challenge.
And no, I'm not happy Robin took the pin. Damn it.
I'll also say, having watched enough of the Dynamite stuff and everything else, hearing Caprice and Ian start to go off track on commentary, and Caprice goes, wait a minute, no, we got to get back on track here. This is an amazing match, and gets us on there. Learn something, Excalibur and Taz. Stop talking about your goddamn balls and watch the women's match. They're amazing. And right after this, someone else amazing appeared, and okay. I am a humongous Abaddon stan. I am the biggest Abaddon stan, but I have one critique, and I hate to bring it up because I feel like I'm mansplaining. Figure out where the smoke is and don't stand in the middle of it. You need to be on camera so people can see what you're doing, because otherwise Billy Stark's in the ring going, what are you actually doing? Move. Where are you? What's going on?
It's the same spot you did last week, or excuse me, they did last week. But then they still haven't done anything. They came out, stared, acted scary, which was great, but go in and wreck some people.
And their special effects person kept feeding the smoke in front of them for some reason.
I feel like Abaddon will not be in the tournament or the contention for the television title. What will happen is Billy or Taya is going to win it, and then Abaddon's going to come in, and that's going to be their first, getting chased by that monster. I feel like that's what they're setting up with the fact that Abaddon has not engaged anyone yet.
I like that. I could be here for that.
Very American Horror Story-esque. That'll be fun.
Please let it be Taya. Let's revisit ROH's version of the Undead Realm.
Oh my gosh. But we then, this is when the switch happened. Caprice and Ian called out, we moved
very jarring
to Daly's place. This obviously was recorded the week before. It was still during their going home event, but it was recorded in the same spot, and it didn't affect the work at all, but it was definitely jarring to see. Yes, Andrew?
There was one thing that happened in the middle.
There was.
We got a review of an ROH title changing hands.
I wanted to
on
skip
AEW.
over this. Yeah. I wanted to skip over this because it wasn't relevant, because it happened literally yesterday, and they were calling it out. But it wasn't going to. It's not going to affect ROH, at least for the tape stuff, for another 2 weeks, basically.
Right.
But for me, it tied in because it ties into the main event and a tag match that we got later. Seeing this reminded me, added to my frustration, and then when I saw something happen later on in the card, I'm like, why? What are we doing?
Right. It's as if we can't have both sets of tag titles on the show. One has to be up and one has to be down, and vice versa. And it seems like the Undisputed Kingdom are willing to come over to ROH and actually defend their titles. Yeah. But we switch over to Daly's place, and we get a promo from there with Action Andretti nearly getting run over by Top Flight in a golf cart, setting up that they all have a match tonight. They're all in the ring tonight, and they're going to be fun. And Andretti is still pounding all of those water bottles. It's just crazy.
He also had a big plate of food, which I kind of wanted to. I was like, now you're making me hungry.
this
I'm a
was the
fat boy.
promo
That's gonna happen.
and the lead into the match that frustrated me about the six-man titles, because you had later on we have Top Flight and Butcher and the Blade going against each other, and Andretti's in action too. We could have had Action Andretti and Top Flight, especially since they're during that promo they talk about looking at those six-man titles. Butcher and the Blade have been hanging out with Kip Sabian. There's six-man match right there. Why was that not on there? Why are we not focusing on a division that's there? Like it. So frustrating.
To put the logic on it, which there is no logic, it's because they filmed these before they made the title switch, and so therefore they had no way to prepare for them on the night to actually have it set up that way, which is completely, utterly wrong. But as you said, we then get from that promo too, the Butcher and the Blade taking on Top Flight, and they had been saying like this is where Butcher and the Blade made their debut. They started basically in Daly's place with AEW, whereas Top Flight had never wrestled in Daly's place because both of them have been injured for so long they missed a chance to do so. So this was a hard-hitting match with a couple of botched spots that didn't seem, and some innovative ones. The thing that got me, that sticks in my head, is the growling voice of the Butcher from the side yelling "Ask him" every time they had Darius in a submission. Like every time, just it chills me to the bone. I don't know about everyone else.
I didn't take a lot of notes on this match. I mean, it was well worked. They were given a lot of time. It's just a good tag match.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing I already said about the six-man, division and all that kind of stuff. It was a great match. It was two high flyers against two powerhouses, so you're going to get a lot of that really cool work. They did what they're supposed to do as tag teams. Both of them are really good tag teams, too. So, I don't mind seeing them in the tag team division. I just want to actually see these divisions represented. What Caprice called the Skywalker splash at the end, that was insane. That was awesome.
So beautiful.
Top Flight, I hope to see them wrestle a lot together.
Yes. Together and not hurting each other. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not have a revolving door of one being out while the other is still wrestling, please.
Zara's turn.
No, don't put that out there in the watch. Supercard of Honor is going to be the curse where something always goes wrong. Anywho, I really enjoyed this tag team match. I like Top Flight. I'm happy to see Butcher and Blade actually be utilized outside of being, hey, we just need you as a body for these multi-man, big battle royale types of matches. I love the walrus mustache is still a thing. I was like,
that's the best part of their tag team.
Honestly, that mustache can be their manager. I'm like giving Eggman vibes from Sonic the Hedgehog over here.
That should have its own entrance.
So good. I really enjoyed this tag team match. I have no complaints about it, and that's probably where I'm going to feel for the second half of this card. When we got to Daly's place, I was like, I enjoyed this for what it was. We're gonna have some more feelings though as we get closer to the end.
Well, there was feelings coming in for the next match as well, because really we described everything that happened with Top Flight and the Butcher and the Blade. We then got Serpentico taking on Mark Brisco in Mark Brisco's first appearance in Daly's place as well. And another thing that broke the fourth wall, they're saying it was Mark Brisco's birthday. This was not filmed on his birthday. We know that. We know that, Caprice. Don't you think we don't know that?
Don't lie to me, but that's okay.
But
they did it with Willie Mack's birthday last week. Stop lying about birthdays.
Exactly. Birthdays and lies. That is what ROH is all about. We're going to put that on a t-shirt. But
the cake is a lie.
This was really well worked. Serpentico knew what his job was, and he took him to town a couple times. Really kind of technically outworked Mark Brisco, and Mark Brisco soaked in that crowd. It was so good to see him do that because he was having a blast with Serpentico.
Yeah, this match was awesome. I would love to see Mark Brisco. I'm happy to see him back in Ring of Honor. I feel like he got a little bit of attention in AEW because of just who he is, what he's been through, and like the amount of support that he's gotten. But I would rather see him in Ring of Honor, and I'd rather see him get a big push in Ring of Honor. Kind of, he's made his whole career over the last year really about honoring his brother and like what they stood for and like being the representative of that family. And so I'd like to see him get a push, whether it's the television title or the world title or whatever. Like he's just their name is so synonymous with Ring of Honor, and I think he fits so well there. I'd love to see him get that. Mark Brisco looked great in this. I thought he looked really good for his style, and Serpentico sold like gold. I mean, it was perfect. He did what he was supposed to do. I loved seeing Mark after the match like kind of go after him, and Serpentico was like ready to fight, and he was like, no man, like I'm gonna shake my hand kind of a thing. And so that was cool to see.
It was. I am happy to see Mark Brisco back in Ring of Honor. I feel like what you said, Andrew, he fits better here, especially because he actually gets to win in Ring of Honor and not get to be put in a really cool tournament where all he does is job to everybody else in his block, only for him to finally get a win against somebody with no stakes.
I really don't have anything to add. I thought the match was a good match. I am the lone dissenter out of the four of us here. I don't have this gushing love for Mark Brisco. I haven't watched him enough. It's very unfortunate what happened with his brother and his family, and I am all for empathy there, but I haven't seen enough of Mark Brisco to really love when he comes out. It's just like, oh, it's a match, cool.
Well, we will force you then to watch the last couple of like death matches and stuff they had before Jay died.
The trilogy with FTR is a good place to start because that was the most recent one that happened.
And he is a tag team wrestler, and having to carry on that legacy as a singles, that's why we also feel for him, because he is needing to prove himself again as that he can do this without his brother there. And it's been about a year, and he's still every day improving. We move on from that wonderful thing and the wonderful ending of that match to my favorite promo of the night.
Yes.
Nyla Rose is taking over the MIT.
She's so good on the mic. I can't even handle it.
I have no words.
You can't say anything about this.
Yeah, there's no words to describe how amazing this thing was. I love it. Andrew, go for it.
I will say this isn't my promo of the night, only because of the Dalton Castle one. But this was right up there for me.
What got me was her saying, "I'm a screamer," down the lens.
Multiple times, too.
No,
like, I'm not going to be subtle about this.
The part I liked is after it was all done, and Ring of Honor has been doing this. They do it a little bit with the banter between Johnny and Dalton through the door, but they like to pick up these last little like tidbits as the promo's ending. And when Nyla like walks off as Lexi's exiting, you just hear her go, "Billy Starks, where are you at?" And it was just so good. Like it just fits it so well, and it keeps the idea going that it's not like cameras on, now we act, cameras off, now we're done. It just keeps that feeling going.
It's an active backstage area. Like there's always something going on. Bring me that 9-iron. We're going mini golfing.
Yeah.
This is the Nyla Rose we should have had for years in AEW that they never let her be, and they're now seeing that this is what we need.
Again,
Ring of Honor.
She's just being her authentic self, the way that she is on her social medias. There's a reason why she's won like best wrestling social media the last 2 years in a row, or any company. And the fact of the matter is, she just says the most off-the-cuff things. She's very quick-witted, and which makes me really, really happy to see, because not a lot of people can pull that off. But Nyla Rose is one of those who's very quick-witted. And I also got to shout out Lexi to this, too, because what got me was when Lexi's just like, "Nyla, I just got to ask," like, there's a couple of seconds of pause. "Why, girl? Why you got to be like this?" And Nyla's response is like, "Girl, like, let's be a professional," and she like literally picks up the microphone and holds it to her mouth. I was just like, okay, we're in for a good time. I'm really, really excited. Head. So good. And just everything from what happened last week, even with the remarks she said when she was beating up Athena from last week. Surprise, chick.
We do, of course, move on from there to another women's match. Hey, take note, AEW. We had another women's match here.
Hold on. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, okay?
It was a squash.
Yes.
It was a squash.
It was a squash. We know it was a squash. I did enjoy, though. Yeah, it was Diamante versus Dream Girl Ellie. And Dream Girl Ellie, who was part of OVW, so has been dealing with Al Snow for the last, 2 years. That says a whole thing. She's part of that wrestler show that's on Netflix. But watching Diamante get frustrated and continue to try to pin her 6 times to open the match was actually a fun little spot. I did enjoy that.
It was a squash. I enjoyed it for what it was, but for me, this went back to the other set that wasn't Daly's place.
No, it was still in Daly's place.
Was it?
It was still Daly's
place.
We never left Daly's place after we went there.
The second half was all from Daly's place.
Okay, I want to bring up something about that because I went back and watched some of the beginning and like not just this match but the whole card. And the image quality at Daly's Place was much better, but the sound was much worse. It was very jarring for me. We got 3 women's matches on the card, and 2 of them were squashes. No. You don't get points for that. It's like a participation trophy.
One of the squashes was quite entertaining.
Yeah,
It wasn't.
I
Go
will
ahead, go
say counter to that is we haven't seen Diamante really do a squash match. You know, like with Nyla, we've seen it a bit, and with some of the other teams and people, we've seen it. So I feel like this was a chance for Diamante to come out looking really tough against someone like Dream Girl Ellie, who's kind of known. You know, she's one of the, you know, non-signed, consistent local talent type people that is more known than a lot of them. So I didn't feel as bad. I mean, I didn't give it any points or rankings for being a squash match, but I wasn't as bothered by it. And I will say I want to see more Dream Girl Ellie in Ring of Honor. I think she'd be a great addition. And like most of these people, just like Erica Lee, I am happy to see them there. I don't mind seeing them get squashed every once in a while or taking the pin when I know they're the person brought in for that. But we see some really good talent, especially in the women's division. I'd like to see some of them get picked up like we see a lot of the time where they're like, hey, you've done really good for us, you know, like a Brian Keith, and bring them in and like sign them up and say like, hey, no, let's keep them on because people really like you.
Holy shit, this is worse than Serpent. Mikey heard something there.
I didn't mean it as an insult to Brian Keith.
Well, I
No,
can't
but
necessarily.
I giggled to myself because you said after I'd like to see some of these women picked up, like Brian Keith. This is like the John Cruz Serpentico. I didn't know he was a woman. Very confused.
It's his other character.
This is other.
He's actually
gosh.
Sexy Star in AAA. You didn't know that?
Yeah, I figured that out. That's why he got kicked out of Lucha Underground. Anyhow,
Oh, he was the problematic one. Darn it.
Yeah.
I have to
That's why he
read now.
became Brian Keith.
I can't with y'all. I actually like seeing Diamante kind of be on her own for a little bit. I know her and Mercedes is one of the fun bits for me because that's all my Latinas in the tag team. Like, let's go. For what it was, I liked seeing this. I do agree with Jesse slightly that I do want to see like more hard-fought women's matches where it's not normally squash matches. But again, I'm not gonna complain. Diamante is my girl. Like, it was nice to see her wrestle. But I do agree. I'm hoping over the next couple of weeks with the tapings that they have and what they're going to do, that we can get more consistency. Like, I don't know, give me Diamante versus Kiera Hogan. Like, that is, let the girlfriends fight. Like, come on, let's go.
to peek into their own lives. It'll always be fun to see that. But we move on from there and a quick squash match to Andrew's, at least, and I assume everybody else's promo of the night. The continuing saga of the Taya Valkyries and Dalton Castle. It starts off with Taya and Johnny laughing in Lexi's face because Lexi's just checking in to see if they will accept, Johnny will accept the fight for Dalton, and they're going off on how much he's just not worthwhile. It can never be. Macho Man Randy Average. I loved that. That was so good.
I died.
That line, that's so good.
Oh, good.
I died. I paused. And I laughed so hard.
And then Dalton enters like the Kool-Aid Man with cheese slices. And
That
just
stuck
like,
to
nope.
the door.
Not only that, it was the one he was eating because there was a bite mark out of it too.
Consistency.
This is some of the best storytelling of 2024 is the
Don't
fall
care.
of Dalton Castle.
Best
Oh
storyline,
my
10 out
God.
of 10.
He got Taya in the face with another slice of cheese
No.
before he got around the corner to go parkour with Johnny TV. And he did the Roman Reigns spot of taking the chair to the face.
Yeah, but with a couch
Getting
cushion.
knocked down.
With the couch cushion.
And then Johnny slips under the pallet and he's just moves it like a normal person would. But some of those lines in his like mad I didn't even know. He's lost his mind and just spouting out nonsense. He's slamming on the door. I'll eat your lips. I'll eat your ears. I'll bite your lips off. I couldn't handle it. It was too good.
And then for the best part, he just stands in front of the door. He's like, I'll wait until you come out of this door. And then Lexi joins and is like, all right, I guess we're waiting here now.
He's got to come out sometime.
Well, and Johnny yelling through the door, he was like something about, well, it's locked now, technology, and just like egging on Dalton through the door was so good. So good.
I want to hit you in the face. I want to hit you in the face.
Listen, I need the other companies to take notes here, because this is how you do camp in wrestling, and this is how you do it well. Again, I forget which one of you said it, but again, this is like letting the theater kids run the wrestling show for a segment. This was pure theater kid camp, and this was one of the best things that I see all episode. And you know that match is going to be so good, especially if they end up doing ridiculous, silly things in it. I want a no honors match between the two of them, but it's just ridiculous. Just like getting hit with a piece of cheese. Dalton Castle.
I want to
just
see
walking-
Dalton smash Johnny TV in the face with a piece of cheese, or like hit him with a brick of Velveeta or something.
Yes.
Like, instead of a brick inside the bag, he just swings it. They're like, oh my gosh, he got hit with the brick. Why is it gooey? Oh my gosh, it's a block of cheese.
I gotta say, with what they're doing with Dalton Castle and Johnny TV, if they build to one of their next big shows with Johnny and Dalton, Taya and Billy, Athena and Nyla, like our lineup of matches for not only the quality of matches, but the pure entertainment that we're going to get out of it they could be taking it home with that. That's so good. This is such good work from Ring of Honor.
Listen, Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor is supposedly going to be roughly before or after another company's big one. You should let all three of those women matches be on the card, because then I can say that you're the best women's booker.
We could have ended the night here, folks. This was a high point. This is where all boats rise up. But we had a couple more matches left. We had
another promo.
We did have another promo as well. But first off, we had Kyle Fletcher taking on Christopher Daniels for the TV title. This TV title has been defended more than any other title, I think, except for Athena's, in the last 2 weeks. This has been great that Kyle, being the heel, is still defending it every week and taking on a Christopher Daniels who is still game to go where he goes. But I noticed he's walking like Matt Hardy. I'm very worried about his hips.
Yeah.
But this was a hard-hitting match. Kyle Fletcher was toying with him for most of it, and Daniels sold it very well.
I love that bit, seeing Kyle Fletcher grow into that heel role. I mean, he's only 26 years old, but after he hears the Fallen Angels chants die down, he starts calling the crowd to do it again, saying Fallen Angel, taunting them, playing to the crowd so well, but not in a very contrived or normal way.
I will say that it's that New Japan training, man. I'm telling you.
Every time I see Kyle Fletcher, he seems more and more like a main event star. He's getting the look. Obviously, he's growing into his body. He's putting on that, some weight, especially to be a solo wrestler. He's kind of figuring out the right attitude for himself. He looks super solid in the ring. It does have me kind of questioning what might happen when Mark Davis comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's doing so well for himself singles, but I also kind of feel like he's the type of wrestler who doesn't see a tag team title as a lesser title than a singles title. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes, but they could be they could be Aussie Open 2.0, the way they could step it up with what he's been doing. And the two close calls, though, that Christopher Daniels had, where it looked like he was going to win and they were back to back, had me question it for a second. I didn't think he was going to.
That 1-2 woe after the Angel's wings, I was like, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, that was
got him
close.
up for that too.
Yeah,
the fact that he could get Kyle Fletcher up for that still at his age was huge.
I hope that Kyle Fletcher keeps his new finish, the more traditional rise up tombstone. Excuse me, because it looks way more vicious than his hammerlock one.
Well, Ian had the best reference of the night. He said a Don Morocco-esque or pile driver. When's the last time you heard anyone mention Don Morocco? Let's get the man some credit.
Yeah. I haven't heard that since I had his old the rubber action figures of him.
If this is the consistency we're gonna get from Kyle Fletcher every single week, because again, he is defending this title more so than, I don't know, last time we saw this thing defended a lot. I'm worried for Christopher Daniels in the way that he's walking, which makes me think about the match happening tonight on Rampage. We're getting a rematch in which I thought the two participants fighting each other almost killed themselves, especially a certain Darby Allin jumping off ladders into steel chairs. You know, as soon as Mark Davis comes back, I already can smell the money in the water, because you know Aussie Open eventually versus the Undisputed Kingdom. That is the match I want to see, and I feel like we've been deprived of for so long. Since it's like passing ships in the night. They're gonna collide eventually.
They will.
Great match. Love Kyle Fletcher. Christopher Daniels continues to be a pro's pro.
Because I'm relatively new to Ring of Honor. I watched it here and there before they kind of shut down and reopened. Does the television title have an Option C style feature to it? Option C is the X division.
for the main title.
Yeah, does it?
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I just was thinking about that.
It may have at one point early on the curve, but it hasn't since the rebrand. It definitely hasn't had it then. One other thing they did bring up on commentary that was kind of cool for continuity, when Kyle Fletcher kicked away Christopher Daniels' hand for the Code of Honor, Christopher Daniels was the first wrestler in ROH to not observe the Code of Honor.
Yep.
So really he's like sticking that to him, which is awesome,
Yeah.
and to keep that continuity.
So good.
But we move on from an aging star and an amazing champion having a really good match to an Ethan Page promo, which was earnest. Extremely earnest, and he's working with Mikey
shot.
really well.
Shot.
Calling that shot there, gonna go after Kyle Fletcher, and then speaking to him is that's a match I want to see. I do want to see Ethan Page take on Kyle Fletcher. I don't think he can beat him. He's promising too much, which is sad because Ethan Page needs some more wins. But it was a good promo to kind of set that up. Like, I'm here for this.
It was a great promo. Lexi was great in here saying, well, that's direct. That's not vague at all. But it served its purpose. It was the right kind of promo for Ethan Page at this point. I was happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, it was good to see Ethan Page since he wasn't wrestling. I don't know. I feel like he might be the person to maybe dethrone Kyle Fletcher because he talked about building his way up to that title. So maybe they give him a good build to that, or maybe they just give him a good build to the title match. I did find it interesting that he said he's flying solo. So that has me questioning. Are we not seeing Scorpio Sky around anymore?
That's
yeah.
so weird.
Yeah.
That made me disappointed because I think Scorpio Sky fits pretty well in Ring of Honor. But again, it might be Ethan Page being vague. I'm hoping to see Kyle Fletcher versus Ethan Page at some point. Granted that these tapings happened earlier than what we saw the previous night at the time of this recording. But if I'm being completely honest, if Ethan Page wins 3 more matches because he beat Tony Nese and then he won one other match against Johnny TV. He just needs 3 more and then he can, literally call his shot to face Kyle Fletcher at. Let this be the feud that we build towards Supercard of Honor for the spring. Like, I am all here for a Kyle Fletcher Ethan Page program. I think it's going to be fantastic.
It'll work really well, and especially for that weekend as well. It's big time for that part, and it's good workers. Just like our 2 next people in our main event. We had our lucha match at the end of the night. We had Action Andretti taking on El Hijo de Vikingo for the AAA championship. That was being defended, which was huge, but also kind of set up who was going to win this over the top, that we knew Vikingo wasn't going to lose.
They got the main event right for me. This was match of the night. We had a deadlift Falcon Arrow.
Oh my God.
We had a rolling fisherman driver. We had a really weird water bottle spot. But, I mean, I guess that's continuity from AEW.
You've got to get Andretti's water bottle spot in there. That's his thing.
But it was an amazing match, and it was one of the few matches I've seen in recent memory where we knew the ending was going to happen. We knew that Vikingo was going to win, but they both came out looking strong. And the journey to get to that ending was really enjoyable.
Yeah, this was my match of the night. I will get my gripes out of the way first. It reminded me of how frustrated I am, the fact that we constantly see Ring of Honor titles changing hands on other promotions, and watching Vikingo walk in here to defend the AAA champion reminded me how we never see that with any other promotion's title. We see people come in from AAA, New Japan, other companies. We know those titles aren't going to change hands in a different company than what that title represents, and Ring of Honor doesn't hold their titles to the same respect. That aside, I really liked seeing this match. I really liked seeing Andretti go to more power moves against another high flyer because he has the size advantage over Vikingo. I agree. Some of those moves that they were pulling out was insane. That like stalled springing twist that he did across the ring, Vikingo did, was insane. I had to pause it and show my wife. I was like, you have to at least watch this part just because you have to respect what like physically these people are capable of doing. It almost seemed like through this match that Andretti might be heading towards a heel turn, and it made me realize that I would really like to see him and Top Flight go heel. I think it would be a fresh take on them, and I think it would give them some more interest. And I think it
Top
just brings
Flight,
some
the top fight.
Top Fight. That's their faction name now. But even though the finishing was, we knew what it was going to be. We knew the outcome was going to be. I really liked how Vikingo got that like deep roll up to where you were like, yeah, like that's his whole body weight pinning you in half. Like, of course, that's how you get pinned, and it was quick. It was efficient. It surprised his opponent, and so he got the victory. So it didn't make me feel as like, man, well, we knew what was going to happen. I will say I did have one more gripe. There was some dude that you could hear every once in a while because it would get quiet, and he would yell out, "Action sucks." And I was like, dude, are you watching this match? Like, you're doing this just to try and get, like, you're a real life troll is what you're doing. And it was just something that I was just like, come on, dude. Like, you're there watching this. Enjoy it. Appreciate it. You're getting to watch some amazing action. But, you know, some fans are going to do what they're going to do. But, yeah, this match was awesome. Match of the night for me.
Okay, how do I break this? I will say this is my match of the night by default because of the fact that anything Vikingo is in is automatically going to be like 10 plus for me immediately because he's that good. I also shout out to commentary for throwing over the fact that Vikingo is the longest reigning AAA like champion, and the person who held that title before was Mr. Kenny Omega himself. I was like, I forgot about that. Thank you, Ian and Caprice. That's why you're my favorite commentators. You're wrestling nerds like me. I love my facts from time to time. I really enjoyed this match. I can't really say more than what everyone else has said. I will say I have been spoiled with my choice the last couple of weeks because I've seen Vikingo wrestle pretty much anything and everywhere at this point. And while I enjoyed this match, there's one match that I got to see Vikingo was a part of that's probably better than this one, but that's only because nothing against Action. I think he's a very talented wrestler. It's just that there are certain things you can pull off if you're wrestling with people who've been in the business for a lot longer. Just give me more Vikingo. Like, I'm so happy. And I have yet to hear that the rumors that AAA is giving a television deal here in the States is not dead yet. So here's hoping that we can see more of him on television screen. Because if AAA comes to TV, we may need to reassess some things here of who's doing what now.
It was a wonderful end to the night. But gentlemen, we have come to the end of our night. Before we observe the Code of Honor, I need to get your empanada ratings for this event. We'll start with Andrew. We'll go to Mikey. We'll go to Jesse because I see the length of what he's about to say here. And then I'll finish it up with myself. So, Andrew, your empanada rating for the night, please.
Yeah, I like I said before, I really like Daily Place's setup. I think it's such a unique look. I really liked it during the pandemic and when they were using that space. So when they switched over, there's just something about how the audience is, like how the crowds are set up, how they enter. I really enjoyed that. We got technically 3 title matches, 2 of which were Ring of Honor title matches on Ring of Honor TV. So that's awesome. It was a really good show, but I really wish that Ring of Honor, there's certain areas where I wish they could get a little better on the overall storytelling and planning. There's some areas, we talked about them all, Dalton Castle, Johnny TV, the main women's world title picture, but I feel like a lot of the other stuff, and part of this is their titles being out of place, felt like it was a little of like, well, we need to have matches, and they're really good matches, but it has me wondering what's going on. That aside, this card was really good. I gave it an 8.2 out of 10, so I got a B- for me. Good show. Let's do more.
Mikey?
On the out of 10 empanada scale, because I'm the math teacher, so I do numbers. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. I was happy to see some of these titles be defended, where that has been my biggest complaint with certain titles not being defended. I'm gonna be honest, I feel that as much as I enjoyed this week, I felt that there was more outside of Dalton Castle and Johnny TV. Like, that is immediately gonna give you all the kudos and the brownie points for me. I give this a 7 out of 10. And because I wasn't here last week, I actually rated last week's episode a 9 out of 10 for me because of how much I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I might be biased because I want to see more Zack Knight. I think he's great. That first match had no right to be as entertaining as it was. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But from Kyle Fletcher to Johnny and Dalton's, rivalry, Nyla Rose is just character work finally coming to the surface. As we all know, she's been this good. I give this a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed the character work and I enjoyed some of the wrestling, but I want to see more consistency and I want to start slowly seeing threads of where we're heading towards Supercard of Honors. And as much as it pains me, Ring of Honor, you're going to get dock points if I don't start to see storylines, because then you're just becoming every other company out there. Be better.
I'm going to just let this go because I can see what's coming, and I'm just going to turn away and let it explode.
Hold on, let me get my battle hat on.
This won't be an explosion.
I'm ready.
This will be quite a quiet rate.
Mine was just, I love the fact that you mentioned being a teacher and you talked about this. What I got from that was, I love that you do your work. I love that you know how to get the solutions, but you need to show me your work.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly how I feel about this whole entire
Worst math
situation.
teachers I've had did that. All right, so first off, let me get my empanada rating out of the way. I give this a solid 9, which is a very high rating for me. I thought the promo work tonight was incredible. I thought the majority of the matches were great. I don't even know what you're hunkering down behind, Mikey, but it's okay. This is going to be a different style. This is going to be a quiet kind of rage, because you see, I used to say for a very long time that revenge is a confession of pain, because it is, and I still believe that. Now, I feel like I need to confess some things to you gentlemen here tonight, so be prepared for that. I've got problems. We know that. We can see that. I've always had problems. It's kind of plain to see. But some of these problems, like anger, they take me to a place I don't want to be. And this past few weeks, they take me to a place that was really dark, really painful, and I shouldn't have come back. I really shouldn't have. And I also confess that I'm glad you've brought me back from that place. You've all found me and you support me. You let me be me, and I really like that. Because this anger over the women's division is moving and rapidly taking me back to that really dark place. You had 3 matches on the entire card. 2 of them were squash matches. One was an 18-person match that I thought was, 18. It felt like 18, 8-person match that I thought was going to have the ability to grow and to breathe and to let them work the audience, work the story into the match of who's going to be the top contender here for the TV title. But no, we had a slow start, and then the ref went, "Oh, ladies, sorry, you're on the screen too long. Time's up." Tag klaxon goes off, spam finishers, end of the match. You need to stop disrespecting the phenomenal talent in your women's division and do better.
This PSA has been brought to you by a wonderful promo from about a year or two ago, but very nice as well. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that one. The women's division it doesn't need help as much as other AEW products, but it has been a problem there. I'm giving this one a solid 8.5. This was better than most of the other stuff I've watched. It is not as good as last week's. Last week's was a better episode of Ring of Honor. Watch these 2 in tandem, take them all together. You would enjoy where it's going to be, and we got to find that super cut of Dalton Castle and his downfall. That has been amazing. Speaking of amazing, all of you, thank you for being here and giving your candid opinions. Thank you for not agreeing with each other. Thank you for giving us an insight into what we've watched. So hopefully you out there in BC WrestlePod land want to go back and watch this episode. Hands in, gentlemen. We reserve the code of honor unless you want to kick it out like Kyle Fletcher. And I really appreciate all of you. I appreciate you most of all, though, and I know we all do because we appreciate you most of all. Jesse, Mikey, Andrew, myself, we couldn't do this without you being there. And we really appreciate you being here every week with us because you're Bi-Conic. We're all Bi-Conic. And we'll see you in the next video. For all of us here, yes.
We forgot.
What did we forget?
When we were talking about the 8-woman tag match. Charlotte, are you okay? We have not heard from you or seen you. We've seen Rob in the past 2 weeks. I'm concerned.
Jesse reached out on Instagram. Please respond back and let us know you're okay. Let us know you got home fine.
We're only worried because we care.
Okay, back to your table setting.